Okay, I got something for you. Check this out. I want to talk about this. You have to hear me out before you're quick to judge and say that this is unacceptable, because I'm going to disagree and say that it is. But you have to hear this out before you disagree. Thank you, Lance. What is wrong if someone, and I want to hear the people in the chat. Now, there's going to be some people that are going to know my counter argument to this, but who do not. Thank you, Alicia. What is the difference between somebody? Actually, let me take that back. Let me go backwards for a minute. If a couple wants to have a baby and sell the baby,
Sometimes I sprinkle when I tinkle.
There you go. You got it. Why can't a couple create a baby and sell a baby?
It's always nice when you one-up everybody else.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, sweetheart.
Jenna, the hot mama.
Explain to me the difference. Why can a
Good
couple
job.
not have a baby and sell the baby? Sell it to the open market. You do your own little background check. You have people that come by, and you check out the family that they're going to, and you sell the baby. Now I'm going to wait. I want to hear people's opinions why you can't sell children, or why does society say that you cannot sell children? Okay, I'm not going to wait because you guys are going to take too long and there's probably a bad delay. I have a fantastic argument for this. I think that it should be acceptable. As long as you do somewhat of a background check, you should be able to do it. Now, if you said, no, you can't do that, my counter argument to that is, yes, you can. Because if you give your eggs and you give your sperm to a scientist that's going to take that, or a doctor, merge those two together and create the baby, it's no different than you making a baby and then selling the baby. Either way, someone is making money. Either way, the scientist is creating a life, therefore giving you a life, so therefore you shouldn't. Now, if you're going to argue and say, well, that's unacceptable because that child will be used for labor, that child will be used, and we're not talking about devious, illegal applications. That is marquee here. If you go back to the 40s, there's an old picture, okay, from 1943 or 1948 of a lady selling her children on her porch. And this is a true story. Now, during the Depression times, people would actually sell their children off. It wasn't really big, but it's been written in books. It's been documented. But nobody really talks about this because, well, it's unacceptable. It's like that one picture of that little girl in Somalia, and then there's a vulture behind her waiting for her to die, and the cameraman should have done something. It's kind of that same thing. It looks bad, but if the argument is I have 5 children and I have to sell off 4 of those so I can feed the one child, what makes more sense? Those children, it's better off for the children. They're going to be able to go somewhere to where they can eat, where they can live their life, right? Versus having to starve every day and wonder about how they're going to get their meal. So it makes it acceptable then, right? Or no? Is the argument still no? If the argument is still no, so you'd rather that kid suffer and not be able to do anything with their life, including eat. So it just makes more sense. To me, it seems more detrimental to the child's psychology if you say, you know what, I don't have any money to feed you or food or anything, but we'll make do. We'll figure it out. Right. And then you have to live off of the state. Why not give it to a family that actually cannot have children? Isn't that the same thing that adoption is? Do you think adoption agencies make no money? You can't believe that, right? You can't be one of those people that believe that adoption agencies make nothing. There's fees. There are fees to adopt a child. What's the difference between that and a set of parents making babies and charging a fee for a baby? I'll wait. You're going to be hard-pressed to find out the reason. Now, deep inside, you're probably like, well, those are different, Jay, because those are kids that aren't wanted. That's even worse. That's even worse at that point, where you're like, this kid has got a deformed hand, he's got lobster claw, or he's got lobster hands, or whatever the case may be. This kid's got Down syndrome. This kid is mentally incapacitated, regardless of what the situation is. That's even worse. So now you're putting a burden not only on the people that are willing to take it, but what happens when those people leave? Now that falls onto the state, right? See, this is just reality. This is reality speaking, okay? It's knocking on your door. So again, I repeat my original question. Why is it unacceptable for a set of parents to have a child and sell it? The only argument you could say is that's child trafficking or it's slave labor. During Rockefeller days, I'm sure this happened quite often, or rich peoples in neighborhoods would say, wow, that's a stud of a young man. I would love him to push my plow around the farm or lay some railroad ties for me. And then that kid would go off. People do it with the circus, right? And I'm not talking about freaks of the circus. I'm talking about people go off and start working for a circus. When I worked at a fair at 16 years old, there were 15 and 16-year-olds that traveled around with the circus in New Jersey, New York, all across the eastern seaboard just to work and make money. Did their parents know about it? It's no different than that. It's no different. It's no different than taking that strapping young man who's, really ripped in the shoulders, Mike Tyson boxing at 15 because he had a rough life, and look how successful he became. Yeah, he went to jail for some shit, but you're only looking at it for its devious applications. You're allowing society to dictate what and how can happen to that child. That tells you there's a problem with society, not the people that are actually willing to do it. Now, I know what you're going to say is, what about the slaves? Okay, I'm not talking about that. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kid getting money, working, being an individual. It's important to understand what I'm saying here, because I don't want this to be misconstrued that I would love to. I would take a kid I would adopt a kid at 14 years old. I would, 100%. You know why? Because that means that I don't have to cut my grass. That means that I don't have to vacuum my house. That means, what is all of that to you? When you have a child, what do you have? You have free labor for the next 18 years. Let's be honest. You're going to say, it's not free. I have to pay for his food. I get it. I'm saying I'm going to do the same thing. What's the difference? What's the difference? If you want to make a baby and sell a baby and raise that baby to be tough, broad, and I don't know, push around what are those things called that attach to a horse, like a plow, and get blisters on his hand and be a man. And then you're like, look, here's my son. Fresh, stock, nice, bulky, strong, $100,000. What's wrong with it? The state does it, so why can the state do it, but why can't people do it? Did you know that when you adopt a child, check this. If you adopt a child right now, you can get, the true story, there are people that are foster parents, okay? And the state gives them money because they have felonious crimes, okay? They've done things that are bad. And then the state says, well, look, nobody wants them. I'm going to give you $5,000 a month. What the fuck is the difference? What's the difference? Versus the state giving you money versus another person giving you money. Wouldn't you rather, as a citizen of that state or that country, for another person to pay for it than it to come out of your taxes? Isn't that what you would rather? So why not? What's the argument here? I would 100%. Like if Bree said I want to adopt a child, I would have never done it before. But considering what I've endured, I would rather take a child that is already knows how to use a spoon, knows how to use a fork, ride a bike, all the shit that you think is great, but once you teach it once, you don't want to do it again. You don't want to teach a kid how to hold a spoon. It's fun the first time. It's like it's fun going 200 miles per hour in a car or a motorcycle the first time, and then you're like, I don't need to do that no more. I know what that's like. You know, like you don't need to experience it again. Just like you've knocked the boots of one virgin, you don't need to do it again. You know what it was like? It was very inexperienced. It was rough. Okay. You know, and I don't feel, I honestly do not feel that it is, as long as there is some type of background check on these individuals, it's no different than an adoption agency. You got nothing, bro. You got nothing. Just goes to show you how fucked up society is. It's okay for science and companies to do it, but once people start to do it, it's not acceptable. It all comes down to money. There was a lady that had it's on HBO. I think it's HBO, the show with the lady that there was a huge child trafficking ring, and it was rough. It was, I can't remember the name of the show, but she was getting whatever. She's getting, $80,000 a month. It's nice. I mean, that's good. It's good. And she took all the kids that became meth heads, and some became meth heads and some died, and they were really troubled teens. But either way, nobody else wanted them, so the state was like, here's some money, you take these kids. You could not come up with one reason why it's acceptable for a state to do it, and then it's not acceptable for people to do it, aside from the obvious. But there's if one is right, then they both are right. If one is wrong, then they're both wrong. You can't say this is okay because it's regulated by the state. Then fine, get the state involved and have them do a background check on the people that you're selling your baby to. I'm not saying a baby. Well, I don't know. Maybe a baby. But it's a human life. Okay. All right. Well, tell that to the government, because they do the same shit. They do the same thing. We have a baby, just came in fresh, hot off the press. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, actually, all babies got blue eyes, but blonde hair, blue eyes. Comes from good genes, so good at genes that the parents don't want them. Put them in a baby drop box. Baby drop boxes, we cover this on the outside of society. Essentially, they're these boxes that are located in these cities where if people don't want their children, they drop them off in a box next to a 7-Eleven or a bank or whatever. Pick your poison. A grocery store. A baby box. So if you could drop a baby off at a box and someone's willing to pay for it, I'm not going to digress, but it's like me going to China. I never thought that I would do it, but when you see the amount of money that you can make, it really makes you change your mind. It does. Look, women, where my ladies at? Where my ladies at that have given up their eggs before? What's up, Jordan? Where my ladies at? Where you at? So if there's any ever ladies in here and you have problems, you need money. My sister did this. She was a teacher. She would sell her eggs every year and make $20,000 a year by selling her eggs. Do you know how much a man gets for a good old-fashioned pump and dump? A good old-fashioned pump and dump will give you about $50. 50. That tells you what a man's worth is versus an egg. $50, bro. Of course, you're in and out. It's done. But a woman's eggs, they're going to harvest them jammies. Why is that okay? Why is that okay? Because you're helping out the unfortunate, right? You're doing the same thing by selling a baby. And how much you think those companies are making off of those eggs if they make a successful prefabbed baby, if you will, out of those eggs? So you give your eggs, whatever. We'll say it's $15,000. Cash money, 15 grand. That's how a lot of girls got fake tits, strippers, facts. But you sell your eggs for 15 grand. Where do you think that they're going? Do you think they're going to a lab to see if they could grow an ear on it? No. They're selling those to people that want to have babies. Meanwhile, you got a whole house of babies that nobody wants. So now, because you have money, which is the answer, right? Because you have money, you can now buy an egg and prefab populate that with whatever sperm you like. And now that's your baby. You think that was free? $31,000. Let me say that louder so the people in the back can hear me. $31,000. That's what you get when they take somebody's egg and your sperm and make a baby. Throw it into another person. Now we've got like a smorgasbord of a baby. It's from one lady, the eggs, another lady holds it, and then another lady is going to mother it. That's okay, but it's not okay to sell a baby for $30,000. Okay, let's start putting all this shit together and try to figure out what the fuck is happening. Okay, this baby's already made. You don't even need to go get the egg and his sperm. Look, I got a fresh baby. I got 10 babies you can pick from. Open up the back seat of the van, slide the door open. I got 10 car seats. First pick of the litter is yours. $25,000. They do it with dogs. And people seem to think that dogs are more important than human beings. But you could do it with puppies, but you can't do it with people. Oh, that's a human life. Well, that's an animal. He has no control. He wants to learn to eat with a fucking spoon and shit inside of a toilet. That Doberman ain't got no choice. Of course, man. You can't tell me. It doesn't make sense that one is okay and the other is not. How you know that those people that do that shit for $31,000 isn't going to make their baby go pick some cotton? You don't know that. There's no fucking way you know that. Yeah, they're rich. How you think they got rich? You know that t-shirt you're wearing? Their farm made it. Okay, well, there you go. So stop being a fucking hypocrite, man. Say no to both, and it's done. Say yes to yes, call it a day. So that lady that had the babies on the pool, well, they're not babies. I mean, they're children, okay? Everybody, she's so wrong for selling the children. You know why she was selling the children? Oh, you don't care about that. That's what it is. You don't give a shit. That don't matter. She shouldn't be selling the babies. Okay, so the baby should be tortured. Give it up to the state. Then who pays for it? We do. So if there's a family out there that she did a little bit of research on, okay, you got a house, you got a boat, great. Here's a baby, $4. $2 she sold them for. $2. I feel like that's a little low. Would it be different if she watch this. Watch this. $2 is what she sold the babies for, yeah? Would it be any different if she gave them away for free? Legit question. Yeah, it's different because she's not making any monetary gain. It's $2, bro. What are you going to get, a can of soup? 1948, $2 is probably equivalent to about 20 today. So what are you going to get, 3 sandwiches? Macaroni and cheese for a couple months? Why is it different? Oh, one, she has nothing to gain. You think she's gaining anything by getting $8 right now? And it is imperative to understand, I am not talking about child trafficking. That is not what we are talking about. It is not applicable to this situation. And that's probably why you can't do it. Like if I had to take a guess, it would have something to do with that somebody is going to bend the rules a little bit. And you don't think that happens already? Get the government involved like they already are at the adoption agencies. Do some NCICs on some people and then let the people make some money. Why is a surrogate mother okay? She's making what? We used to have a Hazer that had his wife did surrogacy. First off, I would never, ever, 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 I should put that on a repeat, ever, 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 be with a woman that is pregnant all the time. Do you know how many different variations of pickles we have to buy? How many different types of potato chips? How many different types of headgear I gotta wear? How many different types of outfits she's gotta own? Do you know nothing in the house will get done? You will do all of the work for what? $8,000 every 9 months? You could go fuck yourself. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, do it a couple times, get your own place, and we'll call it a day. I am not, and I repeat, I am not going to make you that same vanilla ice cream with tomatoes and pickles again, with a dash and a side of paprika, with a little bit of Gouda cheese in my asshole. It's not happening. So your fetishes are now yours. I'm out. So that ain't gonna happen. But you want to give me the kid that commits crimes and smoke meth, and you gonna pay me 20 grand a month? Fuck yeah, let's get it done. Give me, I'll take a hit with you. Let me take a hit with you. Let me see what it's about. Let me see why you're so addicted to it. Yeah, I see it. It's good. It's good stuff. Let's do it again. We'll meet up tomorrow. That's why. But that's okay. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a double standard to me. Any which way you slice it, man. It seems like such a double standard that one is okay and the other one is not. Surrogacy is somewhat regulated by the government. When I say somewhat, it is extremely limited. So me and Bree want to have a baby. They take her eggs. They take my defunct sperm that's been bankrupt since 2004, 5. Bankrupt, right? All my guys are in debt. They've been evicted. My sperm just doesn't function. It doesn't even swim anymore. They're kind of like a fat guy in a kiddie pool. They're just basking in the sunlight. That's what my sperm are doing. But if they said, hey, we want to take your sperm, I guarantee you if they stuck that needle into my testicles, pulled out my sperm, and they put it in the petri dish with one of Bree's eggs, you got 10 babies in that one egg. My sperm don't fuck around. Dead or alive, those things are thumping, man. Like, my sperm, they don't play to mess around. So they're in and they're out. And then if I said, you know what, Bree, hey, don't worry about that. We got Melissa over here down the street that eats pickles and potato chips on top of her tomato sandwiches dripped in Miracle Whip. She's going to hold our baby. And now guess what? Because that baby is inside of that lady, now the baby that I got likes whipped cream. Not whipped cream, Miracle Whip. I don't want that. So now my baby is going to pick up traits from some random ass woman that I'm paying $8,000 to have my fucking baby. No, I would rather have a guy come up with a van and say, listen, here's all the documentation. Here's the shot card. I got 10 babies. You can pick one. All right. What's the dad look like? Here's a picture. Portfolio. Opens up his jacket. Pictures roll down. Baby 1, baby 2, baby 3, baby 4, baby 5. There's the fathers. Boom. Baby 6, baby 7, baby 8. That's the other fathers. And then down below, that's the mothers. You get to pick. It's kind of like a baseball card stat sheet. There's just numbers, right? Like, been with 12 women, has dyslexia, is colorblind. And then the pros are runs fast and eats really quickly. And then on the mother side, it's like choose with a mouth open. It's like stat sheet. And then you could pick that. So now it's like make your own baby. And you could like mix and match which one. You could do that already. You could say, I want a baby. I'm not joking. You're playing eugenics already. You just don't know about it. You could go right now to a fertility clinic and say, I need you to make me a baby that's got brown hair, green eyes, freckles on their nose, and have really strong quadriceps. What? Yes, absolutely. You think I'm lying? Google it. I'm not going to educate yourself. You know, you have a computer in front of you. Type. So you could do that. Why is that okay, but it's not okay for me to do that? Oh, because you're governed by the government. Got it. All right. Double standard. Yeah, that you shouldn't be able to do that. I want the baseball card stat sheet, babies. I want to be able to look at the spreadsheet of what you come up with. You think that's any different than buying a fucking dog? You buy a dog, you're like, what is that? That's a shikaboodle or shadoodle. That's a Shih Tzu and a poodle and a Labrador. Shikabor doodle. Wow, that's nice. Or puggle, which is pugs and beagles, right? You're already doing that. Why don't you do that with human beings? Oh, wait, you already do it. You have black and white babies. You got Indian white babies. You got black and Indian babies. You got Blasians, which is black and Asians. It ain't no different. There's just a price tag that's on it. You got a purebred? That's worth even more. Uh-oh.